Hello, fellow football connoisseurs, and welcome back to the Quick Take. We have a massive news story to get into today. I'm not going to waste any time. Yes, we're going straight into it. Pedro Neto has signed for Chelsea. This coming in from David Ornstein. Breaking: Chelsea reach agreement with Wolverhampton Wanderers to sign Pedro Neto. Fee is €60 million plus €3 million in add-ons. 24-year-old Portugal international winger set to undergo medical soon before completing transfer from Wolves to Chelsea. That's coming in from The Athletic and Fabrice Hawkins, who broke the story exclusively. Sky Sports understands Neto is already on his way to London for a medical. Spurs were also interested to have that. Spurs. So Pedro Neto, fantastic signing, of course, can play both on the left wing and the right wing, which is actually one of the reasons why Chelsea brought him in, because he is dynamic in their area. He can use his right foot and his left foot. Pedro Neto is a very interesting and very creative player. We see this through his Data MB rankings. I've compared him to Chelsea's current winger options in Noni Madueke, Mykhailo Mudryk, Raheem Sterling, those kind of names there. And as you can see, for assists and expected goals plus expected assists and key passes, he's doing really well, along with attacking actions, carries and dribbles. The only areas in which he's not really pulling his weight in is non-penalty goals. So he's not really that much of a goal threat, but in terms of providing chances and creating great chances for his side and his teammates, he is up there in the league as one of the best players, and Chelsea have managed to snap him up, and it also kind of falls in line with Chelsea's current recruitment strategy, especially regarding the strike option. We have signed Samu Omorodian. He is now a done deal. He is a Chelsea player for around, I think, £35 million. That was announced the other day. But apparently we are still not done in regards to the striker search. I'll get into that in a minute, but I'm just going to, as I said, go through his stats here. So as I said, I've compared him to Madueke, Mudryk and Sterling. Neto is blue, Madueke pink, Mudryk is in green and Sterling is in yellow. And, you know, he is standing really highly for assists, attacking actions, carries and dribbles. He's a fantastic dribbler on the ball. He's one of those players where when he receives the ball and he's got a player charging him down, he stops and waits for a split second just to really understand his space and where he can attack into. And then once the player has entered that space, has entered that zone, he then accelerates into a direction. He does a step over, he body feints. He's able to get past players advancing on him. He's one of those players that is very flair oriented. He's dynamic. He's exciting to watch. Obviously, there is a big drawback with Pedro Neto, and that is his injury history here. I'm not going to beat around the bush. His injury history is quite scary. He had a hamstring injury. He had two hamstring injuries last season alone that kept him out for 23 games. He missed 12 games. He was out for 67 days, 2 months basically, and then he was out for another 2 months between October and December, where he missed 11 games for club and country. And then the season before that, he had an ankle injury which kept him out for 27 games, and then he had a season where he wasn't really injured, and then the 2021 season he really struggled. Obviously the first season coming back after COVID, where he picked up a horrific knee injury on April 12th and wasn't seen back until the February the 3rd. So yes, one drawback to this move is we are signing a player who has missed quite a number of games in a rather short span of time. And Chelsea have dealt with injury issues with their players beforehand. Look at the likes of Christopher Nkunku. Look at the likes of Reece James, Wesley Fofana. Again, big player with a knee injury. Another player like this, Pedro Neto, out for basically an entire season with a knee injury, missed 52 games for the club and country. And of course the hamstring issues which have plagued Chelsea players like, as I said, Reece James. Players like Ben Chilwell have also suffered injuries, muscular injuries, knee injuries. And so hopefully with our new medical department, because now the onus is going to go on them, we can try and avoid the amount of injuries that Neto has had throughout his season. We can try and minimize that. Of course, we have quite a large squad depth. I think Maresca even said that, with his side, he wants there to be like 2 world-class players in every position, much like Manchester City. When you lose a player like, not anymore, I was going to say when you lose a player like Erling Haaland, Julian Alvarez can step up. When you lose a player, or if you lose a player like Julian Alvarez, Phil Foden steps up. So as I said, you've got loads of players who can step in at any moment when a player is needed, or if a player needs a rest, or if he's injured. So hopefully Pedro Neto's minutes, I'm not going to say they can be limited, but they can be managed in a way that doesn't put his body under too much stress and aggravate previous injuries, and keep him really available for the entire season and be that deciding factor in games. As I said, he is incredibly creative. We see this through his FBref rankings actually right here compared to other attacking midfielders and wingers, comparing his stats in the last 365 days. Again, for goals, he's not a big goal threat. He's not a big goal threat. Do not expect him to be a massive goal threat. 0.12 goals per 90, 9th percentile. But for assists, 0.53 per 90, 99th percentile for assists. He's also very progressive and with his movements, progressive carries, 5.82 per 90, 94th percentile. And then we're going into his passing. So obviously his passes completed and passes attempted, pretty average, around the 67th, 68th percentile ranking. For short passes, he's doing pretty all right. For medium passes, he's not doing anything crazy. But when it comes to his long passing, he's actually really, really dangerous. As I said, 75th and 76th percentile ranking, respectively, for passes completed long and passes attempted. So long ball switches, balls played up front to strikers who can chest it down or control it. He's really looking to progress the play up the field. And then, as I said, we have key passes here, 2.26 per 90, 80th percentile, 88th, you idiot. And then crosses into the penalty area. Very dangerous with his crosses. He's very apt at whipping in these floater crosses, a lot like a player like Ivica Kvaratskhelia, which is why I'm a big component for the arrival of Victor Osimhen. I think Neto and Osimhen would work perfectly. I'll get into that later though. But again, crosses into the penalty area, 96th percentile, fantastic. So expect a lot of floater crosses and expect players like, as I said, if we do sign him, Osimhen, or players like Samu Omorodian, to be having opportunity after opportunity with Neto floating in these crosses to the back post, to the centre, and these players, they've got to get their head on it. And, Neto does a fantastic job of putting the ball into an area where it's beneficial to the striker and to the attackers. So match made in heaven for Pedro Neto and Chelsea striker targets. And as I said, Samu Omorodian, potentially Victor Osimhen if that deal happens towards the latter stages of the window. Even Nicholas Jackson can get his head on some of these balls flying into the box. He's also, pretty decent from free kicks in terms of his passing. Passes from free kicks, 1.37 per 90, 85th percentile. Crosses again, 94th percentile, fantastic there. He's one of those players that is really going to take the ball and just create something out of nothing. We see here shot creating actions, 72nd percentile, doesn't seem too crazy, but goal creating actions, 0.83 per 90, 96th percentile. He is one of those players that is a deciding factor in games. He will win games single-handedly through his brilliance on the ball. Again, flair, excellent dribbling. When there's a ball played in behind and it's a one-on-one race, you could put your money on Pedro Neto. I mean, I remember last season when Wolves played against Chelsea, I was about to say he tore us a new one, but he basically did. And we've seen throughout the seasons where there's balls played in behind, it looks like the defender's going to win it, but he just keeps going. He's got that tenacity, he's got that drive to keep chasing after balls in behind, even if the odds of him reaching it is slim. He keeps fighting for his team, and that's exactly what we as Chelsea fans appreciate. We love that kind of fight in players where when the going gets tough, or when it's a 50-50, or when there's a ball played in behind and the defender's got a very big lead, they don't give up. They keep running, they keep fighting for that ball. And Pedro Neto, he's a fast player. He knows he has that speed, and he's fantastic, as I said, in those one-on-one races, getting the ball, shielding it. Again, he's not the tallest player in the world. I think he's somewhere around, let's just see here, Pedro Neto, he stands around, he's 5'8", so he's not the tallest winger in the world, but what that does give him is it gives him a low center of gravity. He can change directions very quickly. Again, he's very, very, very good with the ball, attacking players in one-on-one situations or even two-on-one situations. Again, step overs, body feints, changing directions. He's able to hold off players. He's able to pass the ball through his own legs and then accelerate in the direction of the ball to get past players. He can nutmeg. He can have shots from long ranges. He's actually fairly accomplished at long range shots. He is one of those players that is really going to level up this Chelsea side. Again, 60 million euros. Out of nowhere, some may say, and this is really going to help Chelsea. Now, what does this mean for players like Mykhailo Mudryk? What does this mean for players like Raheem Sterling? Well, these players like Raheem Sterling and even Ben Chilwell, who was played on the wing at some points during last season under Pochettino, I think their time may be coming to an end. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Raheem Sterling. I think he's on way too much for what he gives to the side. As I said, I think someone mentioned, I think it was Matisse on his stream, mentioned that he was on £50,000 a week. And he suggested we could easily double that and that he'd be happy. And I'd be happy too. £100,000 a week for Pedro Neto, fantastic. Even if it's like 120, still fantastic for the player you're getting. And right now, as you can see here, I've actually just compared him on Data MB specifically to Raheem Sterling. And Raheem Sterling was working in a side with better players, some may say. Even though Wolves were quite a dangerous side last season, Chelsea do have a lot of quality in their side. You can't deny that. And Neto said he's leading the line for assists. Sterling is, 29 years old. He's 24, so he's about to enter his prime. And he's holding his own in a lot of these metrics. Assists, of course, he's ahead of Sterling. Key passes, they're very close. Attacking action is basically same. Neto's in fact ahead of him for carries, dribbles, very close. It's only non-penalty goals where Sterling is ahead of Pedro Neto. But he's not that dangerous to the point where he warrants to be on £225,000 a week more. £225,000 a week, that could go to Victor Osimhen. And so through Raheem Sterling's wages being cut, he goes to Saudi, he goes to Arsenal, he goes to any other club that might want him. You have then, just by those wages alone, you have then added a player like Pedro Neto, and you could afford the wages of Victor Osimhen. And I really hope me saying that allows you to really picture just how much of a drag Sterling is to this side in terms of his wages. We want to cut down the wages. Well, we could have similar wages, but have two players, one being a massive goal threat and two being one of the best creators and one of the best, goal-creating players in the league. It really is a match made in heaven. And as I said, when I see Pedro Neto play, I see a lot of Kavicha Kvaratskhelia in terms of his movement on the ball and in terms of his crossing ability. Those floater crosses are Victor Osimhen's bread and butter. Speaking of Victor Osimhen, we actually have an update regarding the striker position, specifically regarding Victor Osimhen. We actually have this coming in from Fabrizio Romano around 2 hours ago. Chelsea could still be active on offensive players market even after Neto and Amrodian. Osimhen plans to leave, but no intention to reduce his salary or accept a straight loan, which doesn't mean that he's opposed to a loan with an obligation to buy. Chelsea still keen only in case deal conditions change and Osimhen's stance change, as Napoli insist for Lukaku, with Chelsea holding out for Lukaku's full £37 million release clause. As I said, I think this is a deal that happened towards the end of the window, in the final week of the window, where Osimhen, he wants to leave Napoli, PSG aren't paying up, and he accepts a loan with an obligation to buy. I really see that happening, or maybe an option to buy if we get Champions League or Europa League football. I can imagine a world where that happens. But as I said, Pedro Neto to Chelsea, let me know your thoughts on that move in the comment section down below. Really came out of nowhere, kept under wraps very well by those working on the deal. Let me know your thoughts on the video in the comment section down below. As always, I've been the Quick Take. I will catch you all on the next one. See you later.